Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ultimus, and with more Overwatch going on in the background, I thought it would be fun and hopefully useful to go over some more tips and ideas for you to hopefully improve your Overwatch gameplay. Now, this is a list I've compiled both of my own accord and also watching some videos myself as far as how to improve my Overwatch gameplay, because I'm having so much fun with the game, I'm actually wanting to get better at it. Very rarely has a game inspired that much in me to actually want to get better. Most games I just play very, very casually, so I couldn't care less if I'm any good at it or not. But in this particular case, I'm, again, having so much fun with it that I actually want to get good at the game, more or less. So, that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into a couple tips I have to, again, hopefully help you improve your Overwatch gameplay. These are in no particular order of importance, just kind of as I have them listed down and as they come to mind. So here we go. As mentioned earlier, that's something that's helped me out a lot, is I'll throw out there right off the bat, watching streamers and watching YouTube videos. Now this one seems kind of obvious, at least to me that tends to be one of the first places I go when I'm looking for tips and tricks on how to play something or how to think about things in a different light, especially when I'm very, very novice at it. Is I'll try to look up some YouTube videos for a bit, and then I'll try to find a stream to check out as well. So in this particular case, whether you are trying to learn the game meta as a whole as it is developing, or if you're wanting tips and tricks on one particular character, or you're potentially maybe even thinking about this a little bit backwards, and not in a bad way backwards, just in an opposite way of thinking, there's one particular character you're having a hard time countering or beating, and you want to figure out how they play. Aside from playing that character itself, obviously there are tons of resources out there on how to play that character, and so of course watching that character be played, understanding how their skill set works, etc., you're able to better understand how to counter that character. So please do not disregard how viable and valuable watching streams and checking out YouTube videos are. There's a lot of really good resources out there from a lot of people who've been in the game since beta, helping you understand what is so special about certain characters, because every character has its own set, of health. There are bullets and damage, or in this case, with Genji going on screen, the shurikens do a specific amount of damage. Not everything does the same amount of damage. Certain things do, stronger points of damage, etc., and so it's good to learn those things. One of the other things that I found to be very, very valuable, and this might seem kind of silly, there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can literally just jump into games versus players and learn as you go, just like kind of trial by fire kind of a situation where you're like, all right, I'm just going to play against people and get better that way. That can be a little bit frustrating, especially if you're trying to learn a new hero. It's also very frustrating for the people that you're playing with, so, consider that as well. And so that is where the AI practice comes into play. It's very, very valuable to me, at least, because a lot of times when I'm practicing a new hero, I don't necessarily want to frustrate 4 other people that I'm playing with. I don't really want to ruin their experience, and that's just where I'm at. And so I'll spend a lot of time in practice mode when I'm trying to get a feel for a new character, trying to learn how their moveset works, what their health is like, etc. Or even if it's a character that I'm really confused with how to counter, I'll actually spend time playing in practice mode versus the AI just to get a feel for how they play, what their ultimate is like, what the range on their abilities are, what their damage is like, etc., what their health is like, all those things, because again, that gives me a better understanding of the game as a whole, therefore allowing me to perform better as a character. And of course, just getting familiar with the character moves is obviously going to help you leaps and bounds get better at them. Just take Genji, for example. Half of his gameplay, a good portion of his gameplay and his skill set is learning how he moves, learning how he's able to scale walls, his speed, what his range is on his dash, etc., understanding that there's no drop on his ninja stars, all those good stuff, things like that are really good to take advantage of in the practice mode versus AI. To bounce off of that, one thing you might want to mess around with to help improve your Overwatch gameplay. Now this is not a new thing by any stretch of the imagination to anybody that might be familiar with any FPS shooters, but to someone like myself who doesn't typically play FPS shooters, or I guess that's really redundant, first-person shooters, FPS games, holy butts. To someone who may not necessarily be familiar with the game type, mess around with your mouse sensitivity. Not just the DPI, but also the mouse sensitivity in game. One of the nice things about having a gaming mouse or an MMO mouse whichever one you have, because I guess there's a little bit of a difference, is a lot of these mics come with software and different settings that you can put in there, and you can adjust and tweak as you need on the fly. The nice thing with the Razer mice is typically they plug right in, and then they're able to just be messed around with immediately. And you can even, if you have a Razer keyboard or a keyboard with your Synapse, you can mess around with settings and have stuff go like one button press on the fly, adjust your mouse sensitivity. Whereas with my particular mouse, the Corsair Scimitar, I can actually have specific settings set up to where I can just click on it, one click, I'm all of a sudden playing with my FPS settings, and then when I'm done, I can go back to my standard settings, because the settings I play with in WoW as opposed to Overwatch are very, very different. I like my mouse settings to be very, very high and sensitive in World of Warcraft, whereas with Overwatch, I want them to be a little bit lower, especially if I'm sniping. So don't be afraid to mess around with that. And again, this plays back into practicing versus the AI. You can spend time getting familiar and getting comfortable with the setting that works for you, especially depending on what type of a hero you're playing. Typically, anybody that is going to main a sniper is going to want a very low sensitivity setting, because you're going to want to be able to train your crosshairs very accurately over the top of a running target without having to scoot too far, fall too far behind. So keep those things in mind. One other thing that's really nifty, and something that, again, I think doesn't get enough attention when it comes to FPS games, is the value of sound, utilizing the sound. As great as the music is in Overwatch, we talked about this a little bit before in one of my other videos that we did, but I want to bring it up again just in case you have never seen the video, or in this particular case, how important it is. As great as the music is in Overwatch, sometimes it is worth it just to play with the music lowered, because sound plays a huge part in FPS games. Hearing footsteps, in this particular case, in a game like Overwatch, where everybody has an ultimate, a lot of times being able to hear where the ultimate is coming from, or hear the character scream the ultimate out. You'll notice a lot of times that the enemy players, their ultimates will be a lot more pronounced and easy for you to hear than your teammates, which is intended as a means to offer a potential ability for you to be able to counter those ultimates. Because nothing is supposed to be an end-all be-all kill. You should have an option. Again, especially as someone who plays Genji, you can counter and reflect a lot of ultimates. Literally everything from McCree's, you can reflect Reapers, you can reflect Genji's Ninja Stars, you can reflect a couple other ones that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head that are also very, very important, so please forgive me, but you're getting the point. And of course, sound is a huge, as he's up on screen right now, Hanzo. You can actually reflect Hanzo's ultimate if your timing is right, and a lot of times that is very hard to time if you're not paying attention to the sound. So, whether it's turning the music down a little bit or turning the sound effects up, stuff like that. One of the things that's hard for me is a lot of times when I'm playing games and just relaxing, like when I'm not recording stuff, I like to play with a YouTube video going on in the background while watching that, or I like to catch up on a stream. And so if I'm trying to record stuff, or if I'm just wanting to practice and get better at Overwatch, that's not always the best thing to do, just because, again, I can't always hear stuff, so sometimes it's important just to be like, alright, we need to just put this aside for a bit, and then actually pay attention to the sound. So things like that are a big deal, just because a lot of times, again, you're able to pay attention to where things are coming from, and a lot of times that gives you the ability to counter stuff if you can figure out positioning, all that good stuff. Even take Bastion, for example, if you know where the enemy's coming from based on sound, you're able to set yourself up in a corner in the right position to where you're able to keep yourself alive a little bit longer, or at least they have to come straight at you to get to you. And again, that gives you obviously a little bit better chance than if you just have an open back and all that good stuff. One other thing that I think is important with Overwatch, and this will probably be one of the last points we talk of, unless I can think of anything else off the top of my head, and that is mess around with and or check out different character stats. Don't just pay attention to the stats of your character, the damage of your character, things like that. What you want to do is you definitely want to pay attention to other character stats. Now again, whether that's going into practice mode and just checking out their stats yourself, watching streams and YouTubers and checking out stats that way, simply going to forums and checking out pages and what the actual stats are on paper, or just however you want to do it. But basically pay attention to the stuff simply because it's important to know. Like, let's say, for example, you're coming up against a tank. You want to know how much health that tank has. Some tanks are a little bit squishier than others. Some have higher health than others. Again, you look at a character like Reinhardt. Reinhardt has about 500 health. Not all tanks are created equal. You look at someone like Winston. Winston has, I believe, about 1,000 health, which is huge. That is a butt ton of health, considering most healers have 150 to 200. Most damage classes have about 200 to 250 on average. And so again, 1,000 health is huge, but you wouldn't really know that unless you're messing around with Winston or you're paying attention to different streams and things like that. You really want to know how much damage a class is potentially able to do. Paying attention to the different stats on your snipers like Hanzo versus Widowmaker helps you understand positioning, what you're kind of up against, how much of a learning curve or how much of a curve do you have as far as forgiveness and things like that. All those things, like it's important to know, for example, I think Hanzo's arrows, they drop, whereas Widowmaker's bullets do not. You're able to fire off bullets a lot faster as Widowmaker, but again, Hanzo's single shots are pretty ruthless if you're able to land a headshot and or anything else, and they also have a pretty wide hitbox. So stuff like that. For example, learning characters like that as you look on the screen, and friggin' Roadhog literally pulled me to himself and dropped me off the side of the map. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but that's top tier plays if you ask me. That actually pissed me off, not gonna lie. Again, stuff like that I wouldn't have known unless I paid attention. And I'm sure he did the same thing. And so all these things like this, it just comes to time, comes to practice, and of course, with that being said, one of the best ways to simply learn the game is just to keep playing, keep practicing, keep queuing, whether you're queuing for AI games or whether you are queuing up against stuff against other players. Either way, it is important to keep these things rolling. Keep these things in mind as you're playing and going through. Remember to have fun with the game. Don't get overly frustrated if you lose. You're going to have bad games. You're going to get caught up in the moment and you're going to make bad calls. It just happens. But definitely keep playing, keep queuing, and you'll definitely see some improvement in your gameplay if you take these things into consideration. And I can say that because, again, these types of things have helped me. Again, it's important for me just to keep these things in mind because, say again, I'm playing Genji, which is what I do oftentimes. I need to know what heroes I can go up against. Which heroes do I have a chance to attack, to kill? Which ones do I want to avoid? There are some heroes I'll just flat out avoid at all costs as Genji, just because, again, I know I have a very low chance of killing them. And again, that just simply comes with tips like this and with practice. All that being said, please let me know if you guys are enjoying the videos. I know I'm having a blast making Overwatch videos. It's definitely nice to have something that other than WoW to hold my attention. As I keep saying, just for the sake of clarification, definitely not done with WoW. Looking forward to playing more WoW, especially as Legion comes out. But having a blast with Overwatch right now, nevertheless. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you did enjoy the video. Looking forward to sharing more with you guys and also hearing from you guys what your thoughts are. Do you have any cool tips or tricks, I should say, that have helped improve your Overwatch gameplay that I might have missed? Leave it in the comments below. Love to hear from you guys. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.